Hey, welcome back to Play and Trade Guitars. I'm John, that's Zach behind the camera, and this is Play and Trade Guitars, where we play it and trade it. Checking out the Fender American Vintage II line. Incredibly impressive recreations, year by year, classic, legendary guitars. Today, we're looking at the 1961 Stratocaster, this one in beautiful Olympic white. I'll tell you everything you need to know about this guitar when we put it on the bench, get all the specs, pull it apart, and then of course we're gonna plug it in and play it. But at the top, if you're in the market for this guitar or any other gear, click to buy new gear using our link. It helps us make these demos, and in the States, you'll get fast free shipping, easy payment plans, and for a limited time right now, if you're watching this while this video is fresh, 10% off everything Fender, including their whole family of brands. Check that out. It's all pinned in the comments or down in the description. We're also giving away an American-made Martin acoustic guitar when we hit 100,000 subscribers. To win that guitar, make sure you're subscribed. Hit subscribe right now if you haven't, and enter via Gleam. All that's down below as well. All right, without further ado, let's get started on the 1961 Stratocaster in the American Vintage II series from Fender. Look at that beauty. When it comes to shopping Fenders and Strats, there's really two categories to think about when you're buying new. It's, do you want a more contemporary, modern approach to the Stratocaster Classic, or do you want a vintage recreation? And even in that category of vintage recreations, you kind of have vintage inspired by, but then you have this, which is a dead-on vintage recreation by year. It's actually incredible. In fact, a lot of the hardware on this guitar was made on the same machines that Fender used in the 50s and 60s, which is just phenomenal. It's got a full nitro finish, beautiful Olympic white, also a three-tone sunburst, a slab rosewood board, 7 1/4 vintage style radius, a medium C-shaped neck. The necks at this era, they could range quite a bit, but this is a healthy C-shaped medium. Feels great and chunky in the hands, but not too chunky. And I just can't wait to get this on the bench, and I really can't wait to plug it in. So let's get started. Let's hit the bench and pull this apart. All right, starting up at the top of the headstock, you have this vintage water slide Fender decal on a gloss nitro finish. You got these single line vintage Fender Deluxe tuners. C-shaped neck on the neck profile, full gloss finish, just really does feel great in the hands. Slab rosewood, typical for the 60s. Actually, the first guitar to have rosewood at Fender was the Jazzmaster before they started incorporating rosewood on all of them. So just for 61, definitely thinking rosewood, and this one looks beautiful in particular. You got the classic Strat contour body, and then you've got these 61 Strat pickups, American Vintage II, 61 Strat pickups that are dialed in on an authentic 1961 Stratocaster. So I just love that. And like I mentioned, you got the vintage style saddles, the trem system here. A lot of this, down to the screws, down to these saddles, are made on machines which made this in the 50s and 60s. Just too cool. Other than that, you got a 5-position Strat blade switch and volume, tone, tone. So let's get the strings out of the way and get some measurements. All right, 4-screw bolt-on neck, and they have the serial number back here on the plate, just like a vintage Fender V for the American Vintage series. You've got an alder body. I'll flip that around and pop this neck out. Sometimes you got to watch with nitro from the factory, especially fresh and new, it sticks a little, so just be careful backing this out. There we go. Get a look at the raw alder down there in the neck pocket, and then we got a very vintage, point by point here, vintage neck, slab rosewood. You can see the more pronounced hump. This is 7 1/4 inch radius, and you've got the vintage style truss rod adjustment down here at the heel of the neck. They did not, however, have QR codes in 1961. You got a bone nut here that comes in at 1.67 inches, first fret at 0.82 inches, up to a 12th fret of 0.93 inches, so not too thick. Strat contoured body, and thickness comes in at 1.79 inches on the alder body. All right, we'll flip up this 3-ply pickguard. Take a look under the hood. Everything routed for single coil pickups. Here's those 61 American Vintage II pickups. 250K pots, all hand wired with the cloth wiring as well. Let's flip on the multimeter. We're at 5.6 in bridge, 5.7 middle, 5.6 neck. Got this old school trim cavity cover. Lift that up. You got the cold rolled steel block here, 3 springs from the factory. Trem came set up nicely from the factory too. All right, let's get a weight. 8 pounds, 1 ounce. We'll call it 8.1 pounds. What a beautiful Strat. Flipping this around for the initial reaction here. Good unplugged ring to it. I'm really excited to plug this one in. If you are in the market for this guitar or any other Fender gear, Remember, you can get 10% off right now. Use our link. You'll find it pinned in the comments or down in the description. It really helps us make these demos, so thanks for doing that. This is my favorite part. I'm going to get this plugged in. I'm going to show you clean tones. We'll dirty it up and then let it sing behind a track. On the other end of that, I'll give you my raw, honest reaction playing this guitar along with a final score. So stay tuned. Drop a comment as we go. But yeah, feeling great. I like that neck shape. Definitely, it's got that vintage feel for sure. Let's do it. I really love the Strat. I think they really nailed it. They really did this right. You stuck with me to the end, so I'll give you my final review, my final score. Remember, if you're in the market for this guitar or any gear, click to buy new gear using our link. It does help us make these videos, so thank you so much for buying gear using our link. You'll find that down below. And remember, for a limited time, Fender is 10% off, so check that out while you can. All right, let's talk about the American Vintage II series and this 1961 Stratocaster. It just feels like an authentic vintage recreation of a 1961 Stratocaster. And whatever that may mean, I'll tell you what it means practically. These pickups sound fantastic. The neck shape, this kind of healthy medium, feels fantastic in the hands. Everything about this just oozes character. I give a final score based on 3 categories: overall playability, overall sound, and overall value. When it comes to playability, despite the kind of bullet points that it has a 7¼ inch radius and some vintage features that are not souped up to modern spec, but choose to remain vintage, it does not get in the way of playing at all. I had no problem getting all around the Stratocaster with ease, and it felt fantastic in the hands. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 9.2 on overall playability. It was a good weight, it's well balanced, the trem feels nice. I mean, you know, I don't use the trem a lot, but I like to know that when I go to use it, it's gonna stay and be stable. It was everything I expected from a great Stratocaster. 9.2 on overall playability. Overall sound, I think these pickups are a knockout. I would love to have just a set of these pickups, man. They did a fantastic job in this series. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 9.4 on overall sound. And then when it comes to value, remember, you can get 10% off right now using our link for a limited time. But I'll tell you what, when it comes to value, they're doing a recreation. I don't need to tell you what a real 1961 Stratocaster would cost. So the fact that they're going the extra mile to get all the details right by the model year, 1961, and putting in all that extra effort, it really shows and you can really feel it. So in terms of getting what you pay for, I absolutely think for just over the $2,000 mark, this is doing that. I'm gonna give it a value score of 9.0 on overall value. That's gonna bring us to an overall score for the American Vintage II Stratocaster. This is the 1961 with a beautiful rosewood slab of 9.2. Fantastic guitar. I would highly recommend it. They're doing a knockout job on this series. Let me know in the comments what you think. Remember to buy using our link. Be in it to win it. We're giving away that American-made Martin acoustic guitar. Hit subscribe if you haven't. We really do appreciate it. When you hit subscribe, you help us grow this community of guitar players and traders, so thanks for doing that. See you on the next video. I'm John. That's Zach behind the camera. Take care.